My journey in understanding entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial thinkers brings me in contact with a myriad of different people. But all of these entrepreneurs who started their businesses and launched their ventures had some compelling why, even if that why wasn't fully developed or well defined. Sometimes that why is defined by passion. Other times, necessity dictates that why. However, each and every one of these entrepreneurs found a way to provide value to others so that they could provide income and value for themselves and other people. On December 20th, 2017, Jim Fuller, founder of Rifle Dynamics, offered me a personal glimpse into what makes Rifle Dynamics special. My daughter and I stopped by Rifle Dynamics while we were in Vegas to visit the Rifle Dynamics team. They were courteous and engaging. In the front office, Miss Casey's vibrant smile and energetic greeting is the perfect way to start any day and interview. And Mrs. Karen Fuller, Jim's wife, ensured that Mr. Fuller wasn't distracted from the important work that defines Rifle Dynamics' excellence. Jim Fuller is the type of guy that young people can relate to. He speaks from experience and keeps himself surrounded and engaged with young people. If I had to describe his character, he's the cool uncle that would share his best whiskey and make sure that you knew how to enjoy it the right way. Except for in Jim Fuller's case, it's AK-47s and AK-74s instead of whiskey. Rifle Dynamics started as a small gunsmithing shop working on the most politically incorrect gun in the world, but also the most well and widely known, the automat Kalashnikov, the AK-47, a weapon used all over the world, from the treacherous jungles of Vietnam to the mountains of Afghanistan to the African Sahara. A weapon based on 1940s design, but so effective that it is still relevant in today's military and security forces. This is the interview with Jim Fuller of Rifle Dynamics.
He actually did a similar thing that you're doing right now, and he interviewed me about the subject of NFA weapons. You know, it was for his I forget, finance class, whatever they call it. So it was about finance, and they asked him to do a paper on a commercial object and how it's affected by government regulation. So he did a thing on NFA weapons, which there's 3 different classes. It's a perfect example of how regulation affects the cost of a legitimate product.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And, they gave him a D on it because of the content.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but you know how that goes.
I do.
That's the way college is these days.
And it's funny that you would say that too, is because when you hear that people are free market capitalists, I always say, "Are you really?"
Yeah, most people don't really understand what that
absolutely
is, you know?
Absolutely.
They confuse it with so many other definitions of things, you know.
Very true. Very true. Okay, so what shifted for you when you realized, and maybe you've always realized, that your products were going to be used to keep people alive?
Nothing ever shifted because I've always treated the gun that way.
Absolutely.
You know, when I was first exposed to the AK, it was in a nasty environment, you know, where you needed guns to keep alive.
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
I just noticed that it was way better at working than just about everything else.
Absolutely.
So it caught my attention. You know, and that's always been my intent from day one, because it was the best fighting rifle ever made. You know, political correctness aside, you know, when I decided to specialize in one weapon, I didn't care what people thought of it, you know, because it's the most politically incorrect gun in the world.
Very true. Very true.
But it's also the best one ever made for what it does.
Very true.
So if you're going to specialize in something, plus also too, you know, a lot of people, the AK was really kind of dead in the market here, you know, 15 years ago when I was started getting interested in it, when I first started building. And then I got my license 10 years, well, almost 11 years ago now. And, you know, and then it just kind of went on from there.
Okay.
Now, from the very beginning, it was always about, like my first customers, 80% of my first customers were all contractors. You know, I mean, seriously, these guys were working with guns every day. And what they were mostly, you know, AR guys that were former military that went over there and they got handed an AK because that's what they had there. And they're like, oh, fuck. And then they use it a while and they go, oh, hey, this thing ain't bad.
Right.
And they come back and they go, hey, Jim, build me one of them things. I got a bunch of money.
Beautiful.
And that's really what it was. I mean, in the beginning, our business was all contractors.
Okay.
Because there really wasn't a market here, per se. You know, people bought them once in a while, but they wasn't a big deal. They didn't start becoming a big deal probably until about 2004. And that's because of all the contractors coming back. You know, people were seeing videos of guys running, you know, Americans running around with AKs and shit like that. And the contractor thing was all sexy and all that shit.
Right,
you know?
right.
So everybody wanted to be like that.
Absolutely.
The contractors were like the badass guys.
Very true.
Even though they weren't much different than the guys in the uniforms.
Very true.
But they were different. You know, they were like an elite kind of thing. You know?
Gotcha.
And everybody wanted to be like that. So that's, you know, but it's always been that way from the very beginning. It's always been about building a gun that you can count on.
Very true. Very true. It's, you know, Mozambique, the country of Mozambique has the AK on their flag.
I think there's another country that does too. I can't remember which one.
I think it may be a Russian country.
Possibly.
I think, I'm not sure, but I know it that says something.
Mm-hmm.
That says something, being the only rifle on a flag.
You don't see an M4 on any flag.
No, you don't. You don't. So my next question is, for guys who the only thing that they have is their teammates, their training, and their gear. What do they say about rifle dynamics? Not necessarily just the rifle, but what do they say about rifle dynamics?
Probably the most thing is it just brings them peace of mind that they can buy a gun that they don't have to worry about. You know, part of the whole idea of going into harm's way is minimizing distractions. A gun you're not happy with is a major distraction. That's not something that anybody should ever have to think about if they're fighting.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And, it's just how it is.
Very true. No. I definitely understand.
I've just seen too many people die.
Understood. I a little bit about my background. I spent 5 years as a weapons systems engineer for the Navy.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So about being in harm's way, I definitely understand. Thank you so much for your candor, Mr. Fuller.
That's one thing you'll find out about me. I'm always that way. I don't have anything to hide. I'm not going to candy coat anything for anybody. It gets me in a lot of trouble, but I'll tell you.
I can imagine. I can definitely imagine. With the AK, you said that there was not a market here. Where do you see the market now, and where do you see it going?
Oh, the market has definitely expanded a lot. You know, a good example of that is the fact that American companies are now producing. You know, one big sign was when Magpul started making AK furniture. You know, now I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of it. I think there's better stuff out there. It's not bad, but there's better stuff out there. But when an established American company like that spends the money to tool up to make things like that, they're not going to do that unless there's a financial reason for it.
Very true.
They're not going to do it to lose money. They're doing it to make money. So to them, they see the market growing. You know, we've seen it all along. That's kind of a big part of what we promoted over the last 10 years was trying to promote the popularity of the AK, because that's the only way you'd ever get an industry here. You know, and we kind of always tried to focus on that by doing the build classes for one thing. You know, we were the first company to start doing those, and the reason being was so many shitty ones were being built. You know what I mean? Because people here didn't know that, you know, so Eastern Bloc technology from the 40s.
Right.
And people here really didn't totally understand it, you know. So it was the build classes. I mean, I'm proud to say that there's 3 guys in business right now building AKs that came out of my build class.
Okay.
And you know, they're established companies that you would probably know their names. You know,
Okay.
one of them here locally, and some of them, you know, and I'm real proud of that, because I know they're out there doing things. People say, well, why would you sell your secrets? I say, fuck, there's no secrets. This is 40s technology. This stuff's been around since then.
Right.
It's just we bothered to dig it up.
Right.
You know.
Right. And you either care about it enough to become skilled at it, or you don't. Because that was actually going to be my next question about students from your build classes. Do you encourage your students to start their own AK business?
No, that's part of the lecture in the beginning of every class.
Okay.
You know, whether they're there for recreational purposes, because, you know, frankly, a lot of people just come for fun. You know, they come for the experience. You know, they're going to get a gun out of it. They're going to have a good time. They may never do another thing with the AK except shoot the one they built. But then there's guys that want to be able to just build a few guns for themselves. and have the knowledge to do it. And then there's the guys that want to go into business. I mean, it really breaks down like that. And again, we that's kind of how it goes. Eventually, I mean, I've seen, it's funny, like we get married couples that come in here on their anniversary to build each other a gun. I mean, it's cute.
Yes.
You get a lot of father and son combinations.
Okay.
I've had actually a father and daughter in here recently.
Okay.
And I love to see that stuff.
Right.
And what that does, that grows the popularity in a, what's the word? In a sense of more like a more homogenous type thing.
Organic.
Organic, yeah. And like I said, a father-son. How can anybody go, well, that's terrible? What's terrible about a father and son building something together? Nothing.
Right.
That's something that I wish more men and their sons would do.
Very true. Very true. Very true. And this political climate is very. Political climates affect marketing. Political climates affect business, and I don't think that there has been a major appreciation just for how critical firearms are to American culture.
Well, it's changed so much. Akai is how you pronounce it. Okay, Akai. Cause, I'm an old guy. I remember when I was a kid, you could walk into a hardware store and there were guns on the shelf. And even as a kid, I could have went in there with a note from my parents and picked up that gun and walked up to the counter and bought it and walked out with it. There was no paperwork filling out, nothing. What changed? I mean, you didn't have the murder rates and the crime like you had back then. This is prior to '68.
Very true.
Now I was pretty young back then. I was a kid. I was born in '56. So
Okay.
You're
my dad's age.
Huh?
I said you're my dad's age.
Cool. And good on him. He must have did a good job with you because you wouldn't be like you are if it wasn't for a good dad.
Thank you. For me, like I said, I care. I care because I know if you do not have that well-defined why for what you do, you do not wake up every morning to get it done and do it the right way. And when you want to do it the right way every time, that passion is built up because of years and of experience. And so for me, I wanted to make sure that I understood that. So, I want to take your class.
That's what our whole thing is built on here, and it's what I think is one of the things that kind of separated us apart from a lot of people because we were very open about the fact, that we take this seriously. And and with this market, it's kind of interesting because, like you said, having seen the market as long as I have, and watching the changes of the gun culture in general over the years, I mean, when I was a kid, almost every house you went into had a beautiful walnut gun cabinet with glass doors displaying the family arsenal. They were not locked, and it was like a point of people would come to your house. Oh, look, I got a new shotgun. Come look at my new shotgun. Oh, that's beautiful, and they put it back in the it was, but that's the way it was then.
Right.
And it's nowadays how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's hidden away, locked up.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Not in my house, but but even when our kids were at home, even though my kids were raised around guns and I never worried about them, we secured things properly,
right,
and didn't keep them out in the open because other kids came around and it just wasn't good.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to see changes like that over the years, and why it ended up that way. You can beat that to death on why, but it's
it is what it is.
It is what it is, dude.
It is what it is.
And I watched the. A good example is that I actually just put up a post about this morning. For years, when we started out, we didn't really have money. It was just, Rifle Dynamics was supposed to originally just be a small gunsmithing shop for me and Karen to support our retirement with. That's all it was ever supposed to be. But it just kind of took off, the American thing, whatever.
Right.
So,
living the dream. Living the dream. And
we just never expected. So, but again, when you're passionate about something,
you have a reason. You have a reason to keep going. You have to keep going.
So it's. But what I was getting at there was, in the beginning, really the internet was your promotion.
Okay.
Facebook. I remember my son talked me into making a Facebook page. It was probably about 8 years ago, You know, he says, Dad, you need a Facebook page. What the fuck is Facebook? You know, and we were still doing gun boards back in those days.
Okay. Oh yeah, with the forums and
forums.
Yeah,
that was the thing. Through the late '90s, early 2000s.
Absolutely.
And then eventually it evolved. Facebook became like a gathering point for gun people.
Absolutely.
And as soon as I began to figure out how to work, I'm like, fuck, this is great for promotion.
Right.
It was free. You work to build your following. And we did pretty good with that. But now, Facebook and social media in general is basically shutting down gun stuff.
Yeah.
They don't want it in the culture. They don't want it in their culture. And we see it more and more. I'll post we have our company page, Rifle Dynamics. Generally, if you post anything on that, because we're legitimate, licensed FFL, blah, 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 they don't never say nothing. But every day I post something on Rifle Dynamics, I always share it on my personal page because that just adds more to the thing.
Right.
And I've actually had stuff that was okay on Rifle Dynamics deleted off of my personal page by Facebook because they said it was offensive. And then I just share it again, and they delete it again. Social media groups, and they're really starting to try to take control. I mean, Facebook just recently changed all their regulations about what you can post about, and it's like we can't post anything about shooting competitions or. If you read the thing I shared this morning.
Okay,
Facebook,
we'll do.
There's a thing that's a friend of mine who owns a shooting range up in Utah. He posted it.
Is that for where Red October was done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Ken Nelson runs that range up there, and he was posted about how whenever they had a match, they would do a Facebook post, and they would pay to spread it out. Because you can pay Facebook to get to. I mean, they choke down your viewership, so you pay to get it back. I mean, that's capitalism. I don't care. It's a private company. That's what they do. But they told him no, you can't do that anymore. He can't even buy.
Can't even buy it.
Yeah.
Once again, free market capitalism.
You gotta do. You get this shit.
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. I mean, when it comes down to it, it has to. All it means is that for every buyer, there is or will be a seller. Bottom line, and supply is going to create the demand. Next question. Your AKS 74 URD, the infamous unicorn.
Yeah, I should have brought it this morning. I didn't think about that. I don't have it here right now.
Okay, beautiful. But still, what was the design philosophy for it? What was your design philosophy?
Well, the idea was that gun is a hybrid between an AKS 74U and an AK-105.
Okay.
It's kind of like a combination of both things, because we were looking at it, the 74U, it kind of, when the barrel gets hot, it gets a little squirrely because it's short,
okay.
Like that. You got a short sight radius on it. Whereas, particularly when we started messing around with suppressing and stuff, because we, barrel lengths and different port sizes and stuff, and we found that the 12.5-inch barrel was pretty nice, which is 105.
Okay.
So you've got 8 versus 12.5. Well, I thought, okay, how can we morph this?
Right.
So we ended up with it's an 11.5-inch barrel, and so you have the better stability, but you also have the longer barrel, which gives you better suppression, and it also gives you a longer sight radius. It has almost the same sight radius as a full-size rifle.
Okay.
So it's really a perfect gun for fighting.
Okay.
It truly is.
Okay.
I run a SOCOM suppressor, the mini SOCOM on mine, and it's just a little bit shorter than a full-size rifle, and it's lightweight. I've hit things out to 500 yards with it.
Okay.
Man-size accuracy easy out to 500 yards.
Okay.
Probably further. I just haven't shot it that far. But the URD, unfortunately, it's a hard gun to make because nobody makes the barrel spec. We did a run of 50 of them. We had to have the barrels made. Packnor made the barrels for us because we had a special spec on it. We had to have certain rifling, certain sizes and stuff on the journal. And it's very expensive to do. So we don't do a whole lot of them. We're going to have to be able to do another run of barrels before we can do them. Mm-hmm. We're actually about to release a 47 URD. Basically the same gun in 7.62 because it's easier. We can get barrels commercially that will work in that format. So we're going to be offering that pretty soon. We have a prototype, a full auto prototype. I've been beaten to death, just to see if it'll work, and it works.
Okay.
So eventually we'll have that out. Like right now, our website, we just put up a new website, and we don't even have everything on it yet.
Okay.
So it's constantly a work in progress. Our marketing people are they're very picky about what they put up there. It's like we got to build the gun, send them to them, they photograph them there, and then they put everything together there. We can't just take iPhone pictures anymore and throw them up. They won't let us do that.
I understand.
The new ownership, they've stepped things
that's
up.
Right. That's right. That's right. Because I have seen a major change from what the website was to what the website is now.
The new website is way different.
Yes, very different. Very different.
It was done by Ellison Kiyomaka.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with his work. He does all the. He does the same thing for Travis Haley.
Okay.
For Haley Strategic Partners.
Okay.
He's the one that's been their guy for all these years, and a very talented guy. He's the one that did the redemption video that I did. I don't know if you saw the redemption video. He made that. And, pretty sharp guy. He comes up with good stuff.
Okay.
Good friend too.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he's his work is. You'll see now. It's been taken. I sold the company in January, and this whole year we've been transitioning everything. This was originally our old shop. I don't know if you were ever in here before.
No.
The open house. We used to build everything in here, but we built a whole new shop on the other end. I'll take you for a tour. If you
Okay, definitely.
And that's where we do all of our production work now down there. And this is my work area, obviously, in a classroom.
Okay.
So a lot of things have changed. They got things bigger. They made things cleaner. They're just trying to raise it to a higher level than what we were before. I used to think we were kind of like white trash, and I'm okay with that. I don't care.
You build damn good guns. To hell with anybody.
It's a white trash gun.
Absolutely.
But but they're trying to step up that. They want to try to attract. A different market. They want to try to go after the AR market to say, look, these are just as high class as your AR. And it needed to go that direction, but that's just something I never followed. I was just happy with, I maxed out what I could ever do with this thing. These guys that came in, they got, actually the guy that bought us is a longtime friend of mine. I've known him for 20 years. And he was loosely involved with me anyhow. But I knew he could bring resources that could do the things I would never be able to do. And at my age right now, I'm 61, I don't have a whole lot of time left to be active in this industry.
Gotcha.
I hope to get another 5 or 6 years and then I'm done.
Okay.
But this allows me to do what I really want to do. When I was running everything before, I spent 90% of my time making sure there was payroll, paying suppliers, the IRS, ATF, DEA, all these different fucking people we got to deal with. It took up all my fucking time. And nothing was ever getting built or designed or anything. Now, that's all I do.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, well, my last question. Red October. Are you bringing the 7.62 or are you bringing the 5.45?
What, to shoot? No, I generally run 5.45 most of the time.
Okay.
I'm kind of hooked on that caliber. I love the 7.62 gun. Really, the difference is if you got to shoot through something, 7.62 works.
Okay.
If you got to shoot through a wall, if you got to shoot through a car, that's round there is for it.
Okay.
But at distance, you don't have much. 300 is good. 400 is still okay. 500 starting to get a little sketchy.
Okay.
After beyond that, it goes transonic, and you might as well be using a pistol caliber.
Okay.
But 5.45. With my 501, which is a 14.5-inch barrel, I can hit man-sized steel beyond 700 yards.
Oh, you're winning.
And and the nice thing also for home defense, now it's not a good round for shooting through walls, or shooting through cars and stuff because it's so easily deflected. But because of that, when you shoot a person with that, it very rarely ever leaves their body. And if you were to miss and it got through an exterior wall, I've tested all this stuff. Your standard exterior wall is 1 inch of stucco and some insulation and 5/8 drywall. That bullet don't have any energy once it passes through something like that.
Okay.
Not enough to damage anybody.
Okay.
So I consider it a pretty damn good home defense round, but you better have a suppressor on it.
Okay.
'Cause inside, it's
there was a guy. I went to the program club yesterday.
Oh, cool.
Took my daughter,
Cool.
and it was a guy out there shooting an AK, and I was like, holy shit! Like the concussive force.
Oh yeah, it's loud. You put that inside a room.
God.
And the thing with the 5.45, it's worse than the 7.62 because it's the sonic crack that's involved in that round. But if you run it through a suppressor, you get rid of that. It might still be loud. I run a little SOCOM 30 caliber mini suppressor on it, so it's not real quiet, but it takes away that stuff that would damage you.
Okay.
So if I have to launch one, I launch 4 or 5, and I'll still be able to hear my stereo kind of.
Understood.
You see, I use a loud one.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Fuller, that were all the questions that I have for my project.
Cool.
I greatly
Well, I hope it was
appreciate you.
helpful for you.
Damn